Two teenagers charged with murder over KERAMAT TAHFIZ fire. Foreign Ministry announces ban on Malaysians travelling to North Korea. Good evening, I'm Jessica Lee and you're watching News on 2. Two teenage boys were charged today in the Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court with the murder of 21 students and two teachers of a religious residential school 2 weeks ago. Now, no plea was recorded from the boys, both aged 16, who were charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code. The two teenage boys were jointly charged with the murder of the 23 people at the Pusat TAHFIZ Darul Ittifaqiyah in Jalan Keramat Hujung, Kampung Dato Kramat Wang Semaju between 4:15 a.m. and 6:45 a.m. on September 14th. They were also charged with Section 34 of the Penal Code, which provides for the mandatory death sentence upon conviction. The closed-door proceedings held from 12:05 p.m. to 12:25 p.m. took place at the Magistrates Court 7 before Magistrate Siti Razia Kamaruddin. Only the families of the accused were allowed into the courtroom. Kuala Lumpur Director of Prosecution Othman Abdullah and Deputy Public Prosecutors Muhammad Nordin Ismail and Nur Akmal Farhan Aziz appeared for the prosecution. The accused were unrepresented. Magistrate Siti Razia set November 28th for re-mention. Meanwhile, aside from the murder charge, two of the accused along with three other teenagers were also charged for self-administration of methamphetamine and ganja. Now, the five suspects are being charged in the court for children. Three of the five accused, aged 12, 16 and 17, pleaded not guilty in front of Magistrate Zilfinas Abbas, while the two other accused, both aged 16, pleaded guilty. Now, the 12-year-old accused was released on a 3,000 ringgit bail. The court fixed November 28th for a case mentioned pending the results of their urine tests for the remaining accused who pleaded not guilty. The court will hear the cases of those who pleaded guilty on November 28th, pending their submission of their character reports. A fire razed 60% of female students' hostel at Sekolah Tinggi Islam AS Sofa in Rembau early today. Negeri Sembilan Fire and Rescue Director Nur Azam Khamis said the blaze at the hostel, occupied by 37 students, was detected at 1:50 a.m. Nur Azam said the students did not sustain any injuries, although three who had a history of asthma were rushed to the hospital Tampin for treatment after inhaling smoke. Aside from students, there were also two female wardens, two hostel staff and two security guards on the grounds. 18 officers and personnel from the fire and rescue station in Rembau Tampin and headquarters were involved in the operation, which took 30 minutes to douse the fire.
Bomba sampai, api telah merebak separuh bangunan dan kita telah mengambil tindakan dalam masa 15 minit mengawal api daripada merebak dan padam sepenuhnya setengah jam kemudian.
According to Nur Azam, one of the students, Nur Atira Izzati Shamsul Murfis, 15, was awakened when she heard sparks of fire on top of the building and quickly alerted her friends who were sleeping. The school's principal, Nur Badrozama Nordin, said all the students involved in the incident were allowed to return to their homes.
Kalau bangunan ni asalnya memang bangunan asal lah. Tapi kalau asrama ni sahaja tahun 2014.
2014.
2014.
Mana sekolah tu?
Jadi dari segi dia punya apa, wiring apa semua memang yang terbaik lah kita buat.
The cause and estimated losses were still being investigated. Negeri Sembilan government has requested for a list of registered and unregistered TAHFIZ schools in the state to enable a detailed security inspection to be carried out. Its Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan said the list is to be provided by a committee comprising the State Education Ministry, the Islamic Affairs Department and the Fire and Rescue Department. Datuk Seri Muhammad said following the completion of the inspection, a report will be produced to the state judiciary for further action. He added that the state government is concerned with the safety of its students and hopes that responsible parties will focus on the security level in schools to avoid any untoward incidents from happening. The Malaysia Civil Defence Department, or APM, is preparing to face the possibility of a second wave of floods in the near future. Kota Star Operations Officer, Civil Defence Lieutenant Mohamed Shukri Shuib said he and 50 APM members are prepared to be deployed at any time to assist those affected by floods. Mohamed Shukri added that the Kota Star APM has 9 boats, 2 lorries, 3 4-wheel drive vehicles and 3 ambulances. Currently, the Kota Star APM are conducting post-floods programs to help clean suraus, mosques, schools and other public places which were used as relief centres.
Tetapi jika kita dapat kata maklumat daripada penghulu yang mengatakan ada kawasan rumah yang mana mungkin ada warga MAS ataupun warga OKU yang memerlukan bantuan kita untuk membersihkan, kita akan pergilah, kita akan bantu mereka itu.
He was met at a post-floods gotong royong event at Sekolah Kebangsaan Titi Gajah in Alustar. The Civil Service Commission, or SPA, today denied that it has freezed the intake of public sector jobs. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dato' Joseph Intulubelaun, said recruitment for critical posts will always be ongoing.
Bukan dibekukan. Yang pertama, kita tengok critical post. Critical post ini kita tetap akan isi. Yang kedua, kalaulah post tersebut tak begitu penting sangat dan orang yang menjawat post tersebut bersara kah ataupun sudah resign kah, jadi keutamaan bukan diberi kepada mengisi post tersebut.
Dato' Joseph was speaking to the media after launching the SPA Careers Carnival 2017 in Anak Bukit, Alustar, Kedah. Now, temporary identity cards will be issued to undocumented former welfare home children from next month. This important move by the Women, Family and Community Development Ministry will help secure the future of these children after they leave the welfare homes after the cut-off age. According to his minister, Datuk Sri Rohani Karim, the temporary identity cards will be most helpful, especially when they have to apply for jobs.
Jadi cadangan mereka ni kami akan gunakan untuk menambah baik, termasuk persediaan untuk mereka keluar daripada institusi. Sebab mereka kan terlindung, jadi bila keluar daripada institusi itu macam terlepas.
Datuk Sri Rohani was speaking to the media after a meeting with 26 former residents of the Purple Home Welfare Centre to listen to their plight. To date, there are more than 200 former welfare home residents who are registered with the ministry. Principals are authorized to cane or instruct teachers to cane students for students' disciplinary problems. However, Minister of Education, Datuk Sri Mazir Khalid, said the punishment will not be carried out in public. Datuk Sri Mazir added that the authority to carry out the caning is limited to the principals and the disciplined teachers.
Pengetua sekolah, actually dia boleh turunkan kuasa kepada guru untuk merotan. Boleh. Kita dah cek dah, boleh. Tak payah cek apa-apa dah. Pengetua turunkan kuasa saja.
Speaking to the media in Bangi today, Datuk Sri Mazir hopes that parents view this development positively and understand that teachers will only use the cane in extreme disciplinary cases. Bukit Aman Special Tactical Intelligence Narcotics Group, together with the Terengganu and Pulau Pinang Narcotics Criminal Investigation Departments, recently crippled 2 drug smuggling and trafficking syndicates following the largest drug busts this year. In a press conference held in Kuala Terengganu today, Bukit Aman Special Branch Director Datuk Sri Muhammad Saleh said 309 kilograms of drugs were seized in 2 locations in Terengganu and Pulau Pinang. During the first raid in Terengganu on September 25th, 2 local men in a lorry were arrested in Bukit Payong, Marang with 11 sacks and a big bag containing shabu weighing 288.5 kilograms. Meanwhile, 3 men aged between 32 and 43 years old were arrested with 20.5 1.5 kilograms in another raid in Pulau Pinang.
Kita percaya dadah yang harapan ini merupakan pasaran itu untuk pasaran di Malaysia. Merangkumi tidak semestinya di Kuala Lumpur saja. Mungkin di Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, Perak, Johor, seluruh Semenanjung. Dan kemungkinan juga, ia juga untuk pasaran di Sabah dan Sarawak.
The case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act, which carries a mandatory death sentence if found guilty. Now, a man was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment at the Pulau Pinang Magistrates Court today after pleading guilty to escaping police custody 2 weeks ago when he was first brought to court. Now, the accused, Khairul Nizam Abdullah Sani, 33, made the plea before Magistrate Catherine Nicholas after the charge was read to him. Khairul Nizam was charged of committing the offence on September 6th at 5:30 p.m. Now, on that day, the accused was being led to a Black Maria following his hearing at the court when he slipped from his handcuffs, evaded his escorts and later escaped from the court complex through a sewage drain. He was finally re-arrested on September 23rd after a 2-week manhunt by the police. He was charged under Section 224 of the Penal Code, which carries a maximum 2-year prison sentence or a fine or both upon conviction. A man under the influence of drugs was stopped by several members of the public for snatching his own wife's handbag in Sungai Petani, Kedah today. Now, the suspect in his 30s was then handed over to the Kuala Muda AADK office for further investigation. The incident took place when the suspect, who was under the influence of drugs, acted aggressively by beating his wife and his 3-year-old child in public. AADK Director Mazir Elias said that the suspect had previously been arrested for acting aggressively towards his family while on drugs. The man tested positive for methamphetamine and marijuana, and the case is being investigated under Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Drug Dependent or Treatment and Rehabilitation Act 1983. 2 Form 3 students were killed when their motorcycle rammed into a car in Jalan Perkampungan Felda Ulu Jempol, Maran yesterday. Muhammad Izuan Amir Abdul Razak, 15, and Muhammad Kamal Husaini Nur Azman, 15, died on the spot in the 5:30 p.m. incident. Maran Police Chief DSP Maslan Hassan said the accident happened when the 2 victims were heading from Felda Ulu Jempol towards Felda Dahlia Jengka 3. It is believed that they were speeding and had lost control of their vehicle. Both the victims were flung onto the road shoulder and rammed into an oncoming car. They suffered fatal injuries to the head and body, and the bodies were sent to Hospital Jengka for post-mortem and investigations. And coming up next, farmers and fishermen's associations received 30,000 ringgit assistance. Now, all local farmers and fishermen's associations will receive 30,000 ringgit each, which will go towards strengthening their respective organizations. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak announced this as a part of a 7 million ringgit allocation by the government for the 1 million strong members of the said associations. Speaking at the launch of the National Farmers, Livestock Breeders and Fishermen Day and the Malaysia Food Festival 2017 in Serdang, Selangor today, Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak said the agriculture sector needs to be further developed so that it becomes a new source of wealth for the country.
Maka saya ingin mengumumkan bahawa kerajaan meluluskan peruntukan one-off sebanyak RM30,000 pada setiap pertubuhan peladang kawasan dan persatuan nelayan kawasan.
Datuk Seri Najib added that there will be needs-based allocations for the farmers, livestock breeders and fishermen in Budget 2018. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Najib announced that the Agricultural and Agro-Based Industry Ministry has been given the responsibility to coordinate the National Food Bank Programme via the National Blue Ocean Strategy. He also praised the ministry's effort to promote local food and agricultural products on a national scale, including the farm-to-fork concept.
Saya menerima baik cadangan Kementerian Pertanian ini dan mengumumkan Kementerian Pertanian diberi tanggungjawab untuk menerajui pembangunan industri kulineri negara dari aspek pertanian. Jadi keseluruhan supply chain-nya dari ladang sampailah ke meja makan, Kementerian Pertanian boleh melihat kepada cara untuk menambah nilai pendapatan semua pihak yang terlibat.
Datuk Sri Najib added that proper planning needs to be done to integrate food production at all stages, from the farm until the various food outlets available, such as cafes, restaurants, food trucks, drive-thrus, as well as online food delivery services. Now, Malaysia has signed an energy purchase and wheeling agreement, or EPWA, with Laos and Thailand to establish the first cross-border power trade project in ASEAN. Energy, Green Technology and Water Ministry in a statement said the agreement was the first phase of the Laos, Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore Power Integration Project, or LTMS PIP. Now, based on the agreement, Malaysia will purchase 100 megawatts of hydropower from Laos through Thailand's existing delivery beginning January 1st, 2018. Minister Datuk Sri Panglima Dr. Maximus Johnny T. Ongkili, who attended the signing ceremony yesterday, said it was an important event for ASEAN, especially in the trading of energy. He added, according to the agreement, the purchase will be made below the average rate of 38.53 sen compared to conventional sources. The agreement will last for 2 years and will be reviewed after 2020. Malaysia Airlines Berhad, or MAB, will introduce more wide-body aircrafts in the next 5 years to rebalance its total fleet size. Its CEO and Managing Director, Peter Bellew, said the move would lead to a potentially higher revenue and lower operating costs. The move would also give the MAB 5 to 20% cost savings and operational flexibility for long-haul routes in the future. Under this strategy, the national carrier aimed to reduce the total narrow-body fleet size to 45 aircraft by 2022 from the current 48 and increase the wide-body fleet from 21 to 35. Currently, the company is gradually phasing out 6 of its Boeing 737-800s, which would be replaced with the new Airbus A330neo and the Boeing 787 Dreamliners. The acquisition of the new aircrafts would potentially bring higher revenue to MAB with more flying days and cargo flexibility. The Foreign Ministry today announced a ban on Malaysians from travelling to North Korea. Now, in a statement released by the ministry, the decision on the ban was taken in view of the escalation of tensions in the Korean peninsula and related developments arising from missile tests. According to the Foreign Ministry, the travel ban will be reviewed once situations in Pyongyang return to normal. For further inquiries, Malaysians may contact the ministry through the number shown on the screen. North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile programs was among the main debates at the recent United Nations General Assembly gathering of world leaders held earlier this month. Pyongyang claimed that the United States had declared a war against them following President Trump's fiery speech at the Assembly when he vowed to destroy North Korea. Fears of a clash between the United States and North Korea escalated after U.S. bombers were recently seen flying historically close to the coast of North Korea, to which Pyongyang has threatened to shoot down. Coming up in sport, Sarawak still facing relegation despite beating Kedah. Now, Sarawak recorded an upset in the Malaysian Super League last night when they defeated Kedah 4-2. Although the win lifted them off the relegation zone, the Crocs are still not safe from the possibility of relegation, with one more match to go. Pahang, meanwhile, emerged second in the league after a slim 1-0 win over Terenggano's T team in Kuala Terengganu. At the Sultan Ismail Nasaruddin Shah Stadium in Kuala Terengganu, a solitary strike from Matias Alves Leandro in the 78th minute was enough to help Pahang finish second behind Johor Darul Taksim JDT in the Super League. The Elephants finished with 39 points with one match left, while T team ended in 9th place with 22 points. In Kuching, Kedah surprised the home crowd when they went into the lead as early as the 7th minute through Ken Ilso before Badrul Bakhtiar right before the break. It was a different story in the second half as Sarawak made a remarkable comeback with 4 goals from Noshami Izwan Amin, a brace from Matthew Roskam and a late goal from Mohamed Hairul Mokhtar. Kedah also ended the match with 10 men after Badrul was sent off in the 74th minute. And that concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, 2 teenagers charged with murder over KERAMAT TAHFIZ fire. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. I'm Jessica Lee. Good night and thank you for watching.